Alright, well hello there people of the world, welcome to my channel Sir Koolzalot. You're cool, I'm cool, we're all super cool. So this is another live road trip, focusing this time on the RxCoolers Mini Blue from For All Family. So I already have done one of these road trips and posted the video a few weeks ago, and this was comparing the For All Family Voyager to the RxCoolers Mini. So this is a continuation of my testing of the RxCoolers Mini, and I'm just focusing on this medicine cooler for this trips. Spoiler alert, I actually really like this cooler at this point, and I'm very impressed with what it can do, and so I really wanted to give it another run for its money to make sure that it was performing perfectly, because in a few weeks I am actually planning to use it for a trip from San Francisco to Chicago, flying. And this is a quick 1 week trip, so I don't need to travel to transport a lot of medicine, and so this cooler is very nice because it's more compact and it can carry just a 1 week supply of what I need. And so let me show you what I collected data-wise from this second road trip, and I did really well. Also in this video, I stayed at a different hotel. I stayed at the Westin Bonaventure Hotel Suites in Los Angeles, and I took a moment to measure the hotel room fridge performance as well. So there's a couple of extra little treats in this video. If you have seen the previous one, that you might appreciate. So let's jump on in. Feel free to pause this screen. Here are my welcome and disclaimers. So to tell you more technically about this road trip, basically it plays out like this. So it's a road trip from San Mateo in the Bay Area, California, to Los Angeles, also in California. The drive down is about 6 hours. I think I take 2 breaks along the way. I'm helping someone move back into university this time, so it's kind of the reverse of the previous trip. For this one, I drive down on the Friday and then I come back to the Bay Area on the Monday. On the Friday, on arrival, we're unloading the car, and I parked. We arrived just after lunchtime, and we unload the car, and I leave it parked on the street for probably about five hours midday, and I leave the cooler just basically sitting in the car, and it's actually getting pretty hot in Los Angeles, so I figured that would give it a nice little run for its money. Check into the hotel later on in the day on Friday, around about 7 p.m. Actually, what I did there was at the check-in, I didn't immediately take the unit to the room. You have to valet park your car at this hotel. There's no other way to do it, and they basically, it's kind of a subterranean parking, kind of basement level 1 and 2 or whatever, and we were actually planning to go out a little later on in the evening, and so I valet parked the car and I left the cooler in the car for that sort of 2-3 hour period. We then went out Friday evening. I probably came back around 10 p.m, 11 p.m, something like that, and it was actually at this point that I brought the cooler into the room. So it definitely had quite an exercise on Friday. So then the cooler just stayed in the hotel room from Friday night all the way to Monday morning. I just let it sit there on the side unit in the hotel room. I have a video to show what that looks like. And for that part of the test, it's sort of plugged into the wall, so not on battery. Then on the Monday, I drive back to San Mateo, and this actually ended up being an 8-hour drive. There was quite a bit of traffic, so it took a few hours longer than normal. And then arriving in San Mateo, unloaded the car. Actually, it was a rental car, so then I took the rental car onto the airport to drop it off, and I took the cooler with me to, to kind of complete the totality of the journey. And then from the rental car facility, I got a lift back to my house. So as you can see, that was quite the stretch. And then to top it off, once I got back to my house, I basically left the unit running from Monday through to Friday continuously. I just left it in the bedroom, plugged into the wall. The bedrooms are upstairs, so they kind of get a little bit hotter, and so I figured, hey, why not? I'm not ready to make my video yet, so I'll just let the thing run all the way through till I'm ready to pull the data from the temperature probes and start making this video. So all in all, the unit was running continuously for I'd say 7 or 8 days. And then for 3 of those days, it had a pretty nice exercise going all the way across California, hanging out in a hotel and then coming back. So let me show you how it did. This is a quick stock photo of what the RxCoolers looks like, and then here's a picture of the box that I received on the left side. I'm going to make a more thorough video to tour the unit, show what its storage capabilities are and all of that another time. This is just reporting out on the second live trip experience. One heads up, I didn't actually transport live medicine in this unit yet, but the trip is obviously live. But as I said, I'm at a point now where my confidence level in this particular unit is very high, and I'm willing to put live medicine on the table now with some live trips. I'm very, very impressed. So here's my setup. Similar to the last time, I was using 3 temperature sensors for this. 2 of them are SwitchBots, which you can see here, and then the third one is a Tempi.fi. So they're positioned, so one's close to the cooling plate, one's about midway along the chamber, and then the Tempi.fi sits at the base or bottom of the cooling chamber. I use Elitech digital temperature sort of medical refrigerated thermometers. These are calibrated temperature sensors, and I use these temperature I have 3 of them actually now. I use these to calibrate the SwitchBots and the Tempi.fi before I use them, and so I know that the temperature readouts are very, very high precision. You're talking about plus or minus 1 degree or less Fahrenheit of accuracy. So just a heads up on that if you want to know what the confidence level is in the data here. I like using rental cars for the California road trips to keep the mileage on my car low. Amazingly, again, it was a Jeep, but this time it was a grey Jeep instead of a kind of a blue Jeep. But amazingly, it only had 135 miles on it, so it was basically a brand new Jeep from Hertz. So I was quite excited about that and took a little picture of the 135 miles there that you can kind of see on the console. So here's the car packed up. The cargo bay is fully loaded. As I said, I was helping move someone back to Los Angeles. And for the medicine cooler, what I did was I basically tucked up the medicine cooler into the very left side of the cargo bay. There's a little pocket to the left side of the cargo bay, and I just let the medicine cooler basically sit there. I thought that would be quite a good position because the air conditioning wouldn't strictly reach it so well, and so having knowing that I'm driving through the sort of the dry cow farmland of California for several hours, I figured that would be a good way to really give it a nice stress test. And then so here's so on arrival in Los Angeles, as I mentioned, after we unloaded the car, we just left it street parked for about 5 hours. And I left the medicine cooler in the same position in the cargo, in the trunk of the car for that duration. So it definitely had a good run for its money. This is the Westin Bonaventure Hotel. The rooms are quite interesting, quite cool. Here, as I said, I left the cooling unit. I just let it. Once we checked in, I'd let it sort of just sit there in the same position for the 3 days I was at this hotel. Here's a quick peek at the mini fridge that is in the hotel room, and then when the door opens, you might be able to spy a Tempi.fi sensor just sitting next to the milk carton there. And so I measured the performance of that fridge for the hotel stay to see if it had potential for medicine storage. And then the hotel has a cool view of the various skyscrapers in Los Angeles, so I thought you might just enjoy that little extra piece there on the video. Regarding the battery, so this time, by the time we got to about, so all in all, the battery this time lasted a good, I would say, 16 hours. This was an estimate because I didn't let it run all the way down, but it started working on battery around 6:15 a.m. and around about 7:30 p.m. it still had about 15% remaining, and so I'm calculating that that battery, it was running continuously on battery for a good 16 hours, which is very, very nice. And then also note that it was put under a lot more strain and stress temperature-wise than the previous trip, because it had been sitting out in a car for a good 5 hours, and then during the road trip I positioned the unit all the way at the back of the cargo bay where I was, and actually in fact it probably got quite hot over the duration of the drive, because the car's air conditioning was definitely not reaching that spot. So, and then later on, so the journey home, so departing the hotel, here's kind of a quick peek at we're here at the entrance of the hotel. There's the car, just giving you a little bit of visual evidence there to prove that I actually really did do this trip. And on the way back, I placed the unit on the back seat with a seat belt, because I didn't want it to kind of fall over. One little pain point about this unit is it's very long, so it's very stable when it sits by itself, but if you put a battery bank in the side pocket, it basically really puts it off balance, and it can't sort of sit upright by itself when there is quite a big battery sitting in the side pocket. So maybe just a heads up on that. If you're thinking to use this for traveling, you'll have to sort of think through the best approach to how you're going to position it for transportation, while you're in a car or a plane or whatever, because the unit can't stand upright by itself. When you have a heavy battery sitting in the pocket, it sort of falls over. So I will actually put a bit of thought into that also as I'm preparing for my first live medicine trip using this particular cooler. So this is just on the road back to the Bay Area. I actually, there was like a little beetle car that looked like Herbie, so I took a picture of that. I thought you might find that kind of cute. I thought it was kind of really cute and out of the blue. It brought back some memories of some of those movies that I don't think I've seen for a very, very long time. And then, and actually here's so here I'm in the sort of one of the gas stops along the way. I took a quick video just to sort of show that I did make a few stops along the way, and here's one of them. Here's me back in the Bay Area now. So amazingly, I managed to clock in 816 miles as the driven clock on the car rental counter. So outbound, at the outbound mark, there was 111 miles on this car, and then the inbound was 927. So the car definitely got a nice little engine warm up for the next customer. So here's I tried to take a quick photo of the cooler on the dashboard in front of San Francisco Airport's terminal signs. So there's one of them. It's not the best photo, but just wanted to give you a little bit of visual evidence that I really did this. And then there's a picture of it's called the Kiss and Fly. It's the drop-off pickup spot by the car rental terminal area at the airport. And then if you look very carefully at that video photo on the right, you can see the cooler hanging from one of the luggage trolleys. So there you go. Definitely promise you I did this trip fully end to end. So let's have a look at the data. So this first data set here just basically shows you how the unit performed. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. What I'm going to do with my little mouse area is draw your attention to what's important. So starting around here, you can see where the cooler was packed and basically cools down, and then the 3 temperature probes are continuously measuring the temperature inside the cooler through the duration of the trip. Of interest, so the road trip kind of starts, and then here you see quite a big sort of spike or peak in the ambient temperature. So the black line is the ambient temperature that's being recorded, and then you can really basically see how the temperature of the cargo bay, and actually also parking in Los Angeles, really really spiked up the ambient temperature that was outside of the unit. And then note where you can see how the cooling system, the cooling unit, actually responded and reacted to that. Noting that the unit is most efficient when it hovers around the 80 to 85 Fahrenheit ambient temperature range in terms of that transfer of heat, that heat exchange. And so when it's running most efficiently, it actually is able to cool down a little bit more than some of the other temperature ranges. But then overall, it's hanging out in the hotel room, the road trip back, and then for 3 or 4 days, it's sort of sitting in my bedroom. You can see that it very systematically and in a sustained way maintains a temperature profile that's below 46 and certainly above the 36 mark. So we'll do a very, very nice job of protecting most medicines that are very temperature sensitive. Zoning in zoning in to that data set, I thought you might find this a little bit more interesting to see. So just a little zone in here. The yellow colors are the color of the Tempi.fi probe that's furthest away from the cooling plate. The light purple is the color of the temperature probe that's sitting about midway to the cooling plate, and then the dark purple color is the temperature probe measurements of the probe that's closest to the cooling plate. And so you can see there's a little bit of a temperature gradient between when you are closest or furthest away from the cooling plate, but it's very, very tight. You're looking at about just 1 or 2 degrees Fahrenheit of separation, and then in all cases the temperature never breaches the 46 Fahrenheit throughout the testing. But I thought you might enjoy seeing a little bit of a close-up. The lines look like they're very thick. Actually, just keep in mind, the reason why the lines look thick is actually there's a lot of little mini oscillations that are taking place. As you know, the way that the way those electrocooling medicine coolers work is they oscillate between cooling down to 36, switching off, temperature rises to 46, and then they switch back on and cool down. And so they go through this cycle of oscillating continuously, and that's most likely just a strategy to help kind of keep the battery for running a little bit longer, versus having it running continuously. And actually, you may not realize this, but regular fridges that sit in people's kitchens operate very similarly, where they have this oscillation of temperature where they sort of switch on and off over time. And so if you put a temperature probe in a kitchen fridge, you'll see that it oscillates over time, which is quite interesting. All right, so keeping on going. So now let's focus on the hotel room. So there's a lot of different things going on here. So the purple plot is actually the Tempi.fi that's still measuring the temperature in the cooling unit that's sitting in the room. So I left that data in here just so you could sort of see it. All this data is synced for the same timestamp, so it's all happening at the same time, so you can kind of see how it overlays and how it behaves. You can also see in the lighter green, that's the ambient temperature of either the car or the hotel room or whatever it's measuring at the time. And then most interestingly, the black line is actually the temperature probe that was initially measuring the ambient temperature and then was placed in the hotel room fridge and started measuring the hotel fridge temperature. And so the next graph actually zooms in a little bit to that data, and so here's what that zoom in looks like. And so this you can see here that this was probably running from the measuring from the Friday night to the Monday. I think Monday morning was when I pulled it out of the fridge to pack to go home. And so here you can kind of see the temperature profile. So the fridge basically, it has that oscillation. Like I said, all fridges kind of have this oscillation of temperature. But most interestingly, for this particular fridge, you can see that it actually it has temperature excursions above the 46 Fahrenheit multiple times throughout its oscillation cycle. So the red line is the 46 mark. So if you're looking to, if you have very temperature sensitive medicine and you're looking to store that for a couple of weeks in this hotel, actually that fridge is basically a no-go if your requirements are that your medicine needs to stay below 46 Fahrenheit. If you have other temperature requirements for that fridge, perhaps this particular profile is okay. But anyway, so here you have it. Here's the temperature profile of the mini fridge in the Westin Bonaventure Hotels and Suites room that I stayed in. Also note that when I've stayed in a hotel multiple times in different rooms, sometimes some fridges perform a little bit better than others. I have a couple of examples where one room was really good and the other room was a little bit off. And so it's possible that you might get lucky and you might end up in a room that has a slightly better fridge. But anyway, I would not be putting my medicine in this fridge because it doesn't meet my expectations. Cool. So yeah, so all in all, back to the cooler. So this, the For All Families RxCoolers unit continues to meet my expectations throughout this entire exercise of driving down to Los Angeles, parking it outside for several hours, hanging out in a hotel room, and then all the way back. It continuously maintained a temperature profile of 36 to 46 Fahrenheit, regardless of what the location is within the container. And the unit was running on a single battery charge for at least 16 hours, which is also super cool. And so yeah, so I'm still at this point giving this one a thumbs up for travel. And I'm at a point now where I'm very satisfied with how it's performing, and I am going to, the next time I post a live video about this product, it will be with a live trip with live medicine, so stay tuned for that. And then of course, hopefully you enjoyed the little side tour looking at the mini fridge there at the Westin Bonaventure Hotel in Los Angeles. And I would give that one a please be cautious with what you store in that fridge, because it is at least the room that I had wasn't holding at the below 46 mark, Fahrenheit mark that I was looking for. So yeah, so that's all I have for today. Please subscribe and like these videos if you find them helpful. I appreciate the support for the channel. This project is just getting started, so I am continuously trying to improve my recording skills, my video skills, and then my data collection skills. And so, but hopefully you can bear with me while I go on this journey with you. So that's all I have for today. Thank you very much. Have a great one. Bye bye.